Namaste, namaste. Very happy to welcome you all for this week's satsang. It's been nearly 3 weeks that we started this, what we discuss here for 1 hour every week on every Wednesdays, wherein you send me the questions and I'm answering your questions. And I'm very happy that once I answer your questions, you are writing to me on different platforms and giving your feedback on that. Having said that, let's start today's satsang. But before starting, let's sit in silence for a few seconds. Just close your eyes. Breathe in and breathe out, and relax your mind. Slowly open your eyes. Let's start the satsang now. Once again, something has brought you here. Something has brought you here. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here now. And let's trust that force that brought you here. And let's start the satsang on that account. So I will take the emails, and as I always say, that there will be at least 20, 30 emails every week. It's building up. And I try to pick up the emails that come recently, and I try to answer from them one by one. So if I have not been able to answer your question, some other day I will definitely answer to those questions. And even otherwise, I'm always sending email answers to those people whenever it is possible to me. So let's go to the first question today. Okay. Okay, I'm just opening an email and there are 3 questions. Okay, I will take one by one. Okay, the first question is Dear Master, I'm currently studying Vedic studies. What are Shrutis and Smritis, and which is more important? Okay, so before we speak about Shruti and Smriti, let's explain a little bit so that everyone gets the context of what is Shruti and Smriti in Vedic context. So any scriptures, like from any religion for that matter, can be classified into two different categories. So the first category is Shruti, and second category is Smriti. So what is Shruti and Smriti then? Shruti is something that word, the Shruti word, literally translates to the one which is heard, which means like it's a divine revelation. It is eternal, and it is not written by any human being on the planet. It's authorless. It's ultimate text, and the authority of it cannot be questioned. So that is what we call as Shruti. And amongst these categories are, for example, I can say Vedas. Vedas falls under this category. Aranyakas falls under this category. Upanishads falls under this category. There are 108 Upanishads. So all these are something which has been revealed by the divine, which is not written by somebody. There is no author. There is no human interpretations or human interventions into them. That is why Shrutis are considered to be the most superior one, because it's not given by any humans, and it's not the thought process of the humans. It was revealed to somebody, and from that moment it keeps coming from generation to generation, and they're not changed. Nothing has been rewritten. It remains the same like how it used to be. For example, now Vedas are older than 2000 years before Christ. So from those times to now, nothing has changed. Or even it might be even older than that, 5000 years old or 6000 years old. From 6000 years, it's been the same old Vedas. It has never been changed. Nobody has altered it. And the authority of it is unquestionable. It's always like that. It is taken on the face value. So that is about Shruti. So now I mentioned about Smritis, another one. So what are Smritis? Smritis is something which is remembered. You know, it is something like which sages have written down. For example, like a story, or like a wisdom books, or with their experience, or some kind of moral things what they wanted to say to people, but they were thinking like if they give it in the way how it is, then humans will probably not follow it. So what they were doing was giving it in the form of a story, so that it's easy for people to understand, and it breaks down complex topics into simple topics, and it makes it possible for everybody to understand. So these are very easy to understand, but at the same time we are not sure like whether this was revealed by something. So what we are sure is like definitely it was the work of the human being. So this is not something which is regarded as the highest form of wisdom, and also it deals with everyday life, societal conduct. So this is very 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 different. In this category comes like many epics that you have read from India, for example, or Puranas, which comes from stories, many stories like this happened, that happened. They fought these kind of wars, one was against the other, and all these stories like what you hear, these are smritis, which means like they are stories, but we don't know. If I want to make a Christian equivalent for this, Shruti can be something like New Testament, which came from the divine revelation. I mean, if we take the Holy Trinities like Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, the Son was giving these teachings, and teachings was heard by the disciples who are Mark, John, or any of those apostles, and they wrote that in the Bible. So that's why Christians place the commandments of Christ, or the words of Christ, which came in the New Testament, as the highest one, highest form, and they follow those teachings. And Smriti is more like the Old Testament, so which gives the moral code, which gives a lot of laws, like how to be in life, what to do, what not to do, what to eat and what not to eat, how to behave, and what is the punishments, and all these things is nothing but a Smriti, because this is coming from people to people, and it has been changed and many other things. But what has not been changed is the core meaning and core words of the God. So this is the difference between Shruti and Smriti. And you asked me which is the superior one. The superior one is obviously the Shrutis, because Shrutis are nothing but a divine revelation, which is eternal, and which is which has just come and they remain unchanged. And many things what has been coming from the Shruti side, for example, many of those facts have been proven scientifically, whether it's a scientific facts about solar system or something else, or the medical topics, many things they have been proven. But Smriti things, they are not really proven in that way. Maybe some are not. So there are always contradictions and everything. But as you are doing the Vedic studies now, you might face an issue going forward when you go very deeper into the studies, that sometimes Smritis will contradict Shrutis. So at that moment, if you're a Vedic practitioner, then you have to take Shruti as the topmost one and not the Smriti. So since you're doing this practice, this is my advice. Otherwise, if you ask me what I would do, I would try to consume everything, whatever is there in both of them. And if it makes sense and if it's adding any value to uh, me, then I'm ready to accept it. So anything that adds value to you and your spiritual development and your evolution, just take everything. If it's making you a better person, just take it, but reject anything which is not adding any value to you. So this is my my explanation on Shruti and Smriti. I hope this is clear too. And you have asked two more questions. Yeah, okay. What deepest mystery can be learned or mastered by yogic or Vedic science? Are there any techniques that give direct practice to achieve some supernatural powers? Okay. Okay. So you are interested in levitation. You are interested in supernatural things, I think. So basically, what you are asking is there any mention or is there anything that Vedic science or 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 the yogic science say about supernatural powers? And if yes, then what are those techniques and what are those methodologies to follow it? And you want the practice also. That's what you are asking. Look, everything can be found in yogic science as well as in Vedic science as well. So it depends on what you are looking for. You asked like I should tell it from the yogic side as well as from the Vedic side. So let me start with the yogic side. So if you're asking about yogic side, as I always tell you that the only yoga that ever exists is the yoga that is being given by Patanjali. Any other person like who is putting his name to that yoga is just false, it's phony, and it's fake. The only person who has authority and the only real person in yoga is the Patanjali Muni. So we have to respect him because he has given everything that you need, that you ever need. And there is nothing more that can be said, or there is nothing more that can be explained or substantiated, because Patanjali is complete. He has given everything. And why I'm saying this one is because most of them know about Ashtanga Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, which is like 8 limbs of yoga. But very few people know about Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. And Yoga Sutras of Patanjali is one of the most beautiful books that you can ever read. And if you read that book very attentively, very with very open mind, with very open heart, and with a lot of dedication and devotion, you will be able to find answers for everything, including the question that you are asking now. Because you asked me if there is any book which gives you insights into supernatural powers and to practice them, to direct techniques from the yogic side. Absolutely. So if you see Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, it is structured in 4 different ways. The first is called as like Samadhi Pada, second one is Sadhana Pada, third one is Vibhuti Pada, and fourth one is Kaivalya Pada. So what are these padas? Padas are nothing but it's a structure or the steps. So the first one, Samadhi Pada, what I said, it speaks about the nature of Samadhi, the goals of yoga. Like what is the goal of yoga? What you can achieve from yoga? What you can attain from yoga? Practicing yoga. What is the nature of Samadhi and how to head into Samadhi? All these are details and different dimensions of Samadhi, because Samadhi is not just enlightenment. Samadhi is also getting absorbed in something, or total absorption of yourself, like with no mind, nothing existing. So that is Samadhi Pada. And Sadhana Pada, this is the practice of Ashtanga Yoga Sutras. For example, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. So if you are following those 8 limbs, then that is called as the practical path, what you are following. The sadhana is nothing but the practical path. And third one is like a vibhuti pada. And now this is what you are asking. This is about the powers, the attainments of some kind of special powers, by practicing some techniques and acquiring those kind of siddhis and doing some sadhana. So this is coming under that vibhuti pada in the Yoga Sutras. And the fourth one is about Kaivalya pada, which is about liberation, the final freedom, going towards enlightenment. And what's beyond enlightenment? All these things are spoken in Kaivalya pada. So what you are asking is vibhuti pada here. And in Vibhuti Pada, if we have to go much more deeper into it, there are 5 divisions into Vibhuti Pada. What we call as Janma, which is birth. That is the first one and most important one, because everyone thinks that you do certain kind of sadhanas and you acquire a lot of energy and a lot of powers to transform something, to perform some supernatural activities. But in reality, um, as your soul has gone through a lots of incarnations in the past, it has carried or inherited certain type of psychic abilities, and these psychic abilities are carried over from spiritual progresses that you have made from several lives in the past, several lives in the past. So this is not just coming from this life. Maybe in your case personally, it might have come from previous lives several times. You might have gone through that process. You have got that interest, and that occult science is waking up in you, and you want to do something, or you just got randomly interested in that. The only way that that can be known is through practicing and seeing, like if something is really happening or not. But I will come to that part later. Um, but the first part is like janma, like the birth itself. And the second one is like Aushadhi, which is about the herbs or the alchemy. And why herbs? If you've heard about some Indian yogis like living in Himalayas, meditating for very long, long, long time without eating any food, absorbing a lot of cold around them. And even recently, there are some videos on YouTube that some of the old people, like who haven't eaten for long, long time, like for many months, they haven't had any food at all, but they're still living. And some of the scientists even wanted to see if they were cheating something, if they're doing something, if they're going to bathroom, and if they have hidden some food there, and if they're eating somewhere there. But like, no, that was not the case. They were not eating anything. They were not hiding any food, but they were absolutely without any hunger, and no change was happening to their physical body also. Because effectively, if you're not eating something, then it means like you're eating your own body, technically speaking, because you live on your own fat, live on your own proteins, which is present within your body, like your muscles, with everything that is available inside. But in this case, that was not true. Why? Because this aushati, the herb what I'm talking about, in Himalayas there are so many types of herbs. Even in the Ramayana, if you have read that, when someone is dying because of an attack, the chemical attack, then Hanuman brings a medicine from the Sanjeevani, the mountains. The Sanjeevani mountains is also present in the same place. So in Himalayas is a full of mysterious place. There are a lot of herbs there, a lot of different things. In the modern world, like no one is spending time on researching these things, but there are groups of people like who are doing here and there, but they will never tell you, they will never publicize it, they will never place a Google AdWords or Facebook AdWords for everybody to know what is it and where it is present. And no, they don't do that. If they know something, they just keep it. So those type of aushadha or herbs is needed for you. And this is also part of ancient siddha medicine. So siddha medicine is a totally different topic, and all these things I have spoken in detail, more than 1000 hours plus discourse on Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. It was in France between 2014 to 2017. I have lost some of the audios, but when I get, I will upload everything on this channel so that everyone can read it. I've spoken details about that, but we don't have so much time, so I'll just keep it on a very high level. So Siddha medicine and tantric alchemy. So this belongs to that category, like where you have some kind of sacred herbs, elixirs, some chemical mixtures. When you make that one, then your body responds very differently, because body is also very chemical in nature, because what we call as hormones, what we call as many other things in our body, they're nothing but chemical things. And if those things can be altered, then many things are possible to do with your own physical body. So this is the second one. And third one is about mantra. So mantras, as we all know, like some popular mantras like Om Namah Shivaya, or we know Mahamrityunjaya mantra, which is to win over the fear of death, which is Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityur Mokshi Mamamritat. If you chant this mantra for 108 times, then it is possible that even if you are sick, you can heal yourself. That's having that kind of vibrations, and that can bring in that kind of changes within you, which makes it possible for you to heal yourself completely. You have to do it with complete faith. If you have faith, then yes, these kind of vibrations can completely heal you, can completely bring you out of any kind of suffering that you are going through at that point in time, physically. So physically, mentally, in any way. So that is why it's extremely important, the mantra practice. And there are bijakshari mantras like Om, Aim, Hrim, Shreem, Kreem, and many bijakshari mantras. And when you make the combination of bijakshari mantras in a certain way, and if you chant it for a certain number of times, then it is possible that you will start to, after repetitive recitation of specific sound vibrations, that will alter your physical and subtle energy systems of your body. And when that happens, like a lot of mysterious things will be happening, for at least for the people who are seeing outside of you. For example, there are some sages like who used to repeat the mantra so many times that when somebody else were coming close to them, they used to hear that that chanting. For example, there is a Shambhavi Mudra Dhyana. If you keep performing Shambhavi Mudra Dhyana, then if someone listens very closely when they are next to you, if somebody listens to you, then from your body they can hear the chant of Om. They can clearly hear it. It's coming, it's hitting them in the form of vibrations, in the form of subtle sounds. It happens. So that is why mantras are also involved in this five methodology of attainments of supernatural powers, what you are asking. And the fourth one is the tapas. Tapas is the most important thing if you are asking about these kind of special powers. And this is where like most of the people can give up on this one, because extreme self-discipline is needed. Extreme self-discipline. I mean, like there are some manifestation mantras and these kind of things, like which needs you to have certain kind of setup. It's not like, oh, okay, I'm at home, I start to do it. No, it's not that way. You have to wake up at a certain time. You have to chant that certain number of times in a different direction, and you should be sitting on a different type of setup. It can be brass, made up of brass, or it can be made up of some other kind of metallic things. It can be so many things. And sometimes it is mentioned in this kind of scripture, some metallic things which is not existing today on earth. Even if you find it, like you will never find it anywhere, because as we know in the science, we have this in chemistry, like the family of all the metals and all these things like thorium, uranium, or iron, brass, aluminum, like everything, the cobalts and all kind of things. But that there are many things that is missing, which is mentioned in the scriptures. And if you know the Mount Kailash, the mountain of Kailash, which is also in between India and China. So this Mount Kailash has certain kind of things within its rock which is not identified. So that maybe that Mount Kailash which is there, that was not on the planet Earth. It probably came from somewhere else, a big rock which fell down on the Earth. That's why they are having elements which is not present in any kind of things that we know today, chemically, metallurgically. We don't know what they are, and some of those things are also necessary for this kind of tapas. And not just about like extreme self-discipline, you should also be able to do long-term fasting and sensory deprivation that burns away your karmic blocks and generates immense amount of internal energy. So when you are fasting, which means like you're not thinking about food, because most of the time when people are fasting, they're just watching the time to see like when they can have their food once again. But that's not how it works in this kind of sadhanas. You should just give up on everything, and you should not be able to sleep also, like for several days in a row. So these are like very straining physically, but if you can overcome all these things, then it's absolutely possible to go to that point. And the last bit here is samadhi. So samadhi is not just about enlightenment, because in Sanskrit, many words has so many meanings, at least seven meanings. So samadhi in this sense means like deep meditative absorption. This is the most, deepest and highest way of becoming one with an object, one with something, or one with everything. That is what we call as samadhi. So you have to attain that kind of you know uh, deepness within your own practice. You have to go to that depth of practice that it makes it possible. So if you're asking me like where it is found in the yogic way, like then it is found in Yoga Sutras. You can go to the chapter 4, you will find it, and it's called as Vibhuti Pada. And in Vibhuti Pada, you will find all this power and attainments and everything. But there are several factors, as you can see, that there are several factors which is not so easy. Like first one is about the birth, like how much psychic abilities that you have inherited from the past lives. The second one was about the herbs, you need to find them. Third one is about sacred chanting. Third one was about Fourth one was about the tapas, the austerity, the disciplines, and all those things. And the final one was about samadhi that I was speaking about, the very deep, you know, um, way of becoming one with something. And if I want to tell you a little bit more, then there are meditations which is called as samyama. So samyama is a kind of practice wherein dharana, dhyana, samadhi, all three happens at the same time. So dharana is concentration, dhyana is meditation, samadhi is becoming one with something or complete absorption into something completely. So all these three things should happen at the same time. And in this sense, because we are not speaking about awakening or something here, this is about gaining some kind of supernatural power, which was your question. So you have to have this samyama, which is the dharana dhyana samadhi happening at the same time, everything at the same time. So which means like you are concentrating on something, and when you are concentrating with your eyes, of course your mind is working in concentration. Without mind, concentration is not possible. And with mind, you are working with concentration. And then with that concentration, with that very deep concentration, at some point in time the mind disappears, and then you are completely in a meditative state. And that meditative state becomes so big that you don't feel the difference between you and that object. So this is what is samyama about. So all the three happening at the same time, it needs a lot of practice for many, many, many years to achieve this particular thing. And If you have, like, for example, um, if you can make the samyama of three different transformation, let me say past, present, and the future, then you will be able to have those knowledges of past in the future. Like, many people, it's very interesting for them to know, like, their past life, their future, and this one and that one. Although in my world, like, it has absolutely no significance, but still some people are interested in that one. So that's how you need to have samyama on. If you have samyama on your navel chakra, for example, your solar plexus, then, like, you will get the knowledge of body's constitution. Like, for example, um, the cosmic knowledge, or like, some people call it as like out of the body experiences, like something like that. Like, you have complete knowledge over it. If you have samyama on your throat chakra, for example, then you can have that sense of having no hunger, no thirsty, you don't need water, you don't need food, nothing. But samyama has to be focused on that throat chakra. So far I was saying absorbed or focus on a single thing. So that's what it means. Like, you're focus on the throat chakra, you're focusing on the heart chakra, or you're focusing on something which is always there. If you focus on the strength of an elephant, yes, you get the strength of an elephant. Really, you will get the strength of an elephant. If you focus on the strength of the if you have the samyama on the heart, then you will get the knowledge of the mind, you will get the knowledge of the emotions, you get the knowledge of everything. In the same way, like, you you can make several things, like, you go out of your body, levitate, knowledge of your past lives, and your karmic systems, and friendship with every beings. That is the reason, like, why the very, very, very old sages, like, when they were sitting in the forest, they were not attacked by any wild animals. If you know, like, in the tigers or lions or anything, they were not really attacked by it. And that is because, like, they had that kind of friendship with all these animals, so which made them immune to these kind of attacks. So this is what I would like to say about samyama. But like, the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, like, in the Vibhuti Pada itself, the Patanjali says te samatva. Um, it's a something like te samatva upasarga vyakta tane siddhargaha is siddhaya. Something like that is there in Sanskrit, which means, like, you know all this siddha path is a very big distraction for your awakening, for your spiritual development, because spiritual development is turning inward and this is turning outward. So they are very big contradictions. They are not the same. They're not the same. So it depends on, like, whether someone wants to turn inward or someone wants to turn outward. If they want to turn inward, then that is different. Then that is going towards enlightenment, and that's going towards spiritual development. But if you want to turn outward, then these are the practices for you, like, to go to, out of the body levitation and all those kind of supernatural techniques. So that's what I want to tell you about it. I hope it's clear, and I try to explain it as much as possible in this limited time constraint. This is a very big topic. It can be spoken for many hours. Like, if you start to decode the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, which you can do it. Okay, now I will take your third question, and I will then go to the next email. Okay. And the third question is, I have deep respect for India and great beings who come from that land like you. As you are from India, don't you think Gandhi deserves a Nobel Peace Prize? I'm sure you have big respect for India and big respect for magic things. Um, I'm as great being as you, nothing more than that. And you are asking Don't you think Gandhi deserves a Nobel Peace Prize? Well, look, it's not up to me to decide on that, whether someone deserves a Nobel Peace Prize or not. But just because I'm born in India and I'm coming from there, it doesn't mean I have some kind of special love towards that country. I'm living for more than 15 years in Europe now. It doesn't mean like I'm having some special love towards this land. I love everything. I love everyone and everything in this world. There is nothing more or less. And you're asking about Gandhiji not deserving or not deserving. I don't know about it. I have my own point of views about Gandhi also. And I don't judge, like, just I want to, because the focus I think is here about Nobel Peace Prize. So concerning my views on Nobel Peace Prize, I don't really believe in Nobel Peace Prize, first of all, and that's not because um, because it was given to a lot of politicians in the recent times, like who didn't deserve it. Of course, even American president wants to have a Nobel Peace Prize, but he's not getting it, so he's going on with his war. Anyway, I don't know. I simply don't respect the Nobel Peace Prize because the very Nobel Peace Prize was founded by a person by name Alfred Nobel. I don't know if you know about it or not, or you made some research on that particular aspect or not. If not, you please make it now. And I'm sure, like people who are watching, someone would have definitely known it. So, no, Nobel prizes are named after a person by name Alfred Nobel, who, in my opinion, he was an arms dealer. He invented many things. He filed more than 350 patents in his name. He was the inventor of dynamite. He actually even inherited one of the companies by name Bofors in Sweden. So Bofors back then was making just iron and steel, but he converted that company into a defense company which makes cannons, and cannons were used only to kill people, kill humans. And all those other inventions that he made, which is was related to the wars and weapons and everything, they were just used to kill somebody, and they were not used to give life to anybody. And finally, probably he had so much guilt when he was dying that he wanted to give away all his wealth, and he found a way to make this Nobel Peace Prize. And it was not just about making the Nobel Peace Prize out of the proceeds coming from something which was actually killing lives, killing people. He was also anti-Semitic, which was confirmed by one of his mistresses, like who showed the letters to the public. So it was coming from a person like whose name is being used on a considerably the biggest awards on the planet. So I have my own opinions on Alfred Nobel because for me, what matters is the intentions. Intentions is everything. It doesn't matter what you do, and when you know, like the your own invention, what you are doing is will be used to kill somebody or kill someone on this planet who is a human just like you, then I don't think we should do it. So if your conscious was allowing you to do exactly that, then I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that was the decision. And all the money which was coming from, Alfred Nobel, honestly, they were coming from the blood money. So the same money was used, and the same people like who was appointed by him, and later on many other people, they are taking care of this one. So it's coming from the same source where it should not come from. And it's very funny that the money which was coming from the violence issues the peace prize today. So that's how the Kali Yuga, the current the phase of the world works. So that's why I have my things, and I don't think like anyone has to be judged whether someone is a peaceful person, someone is not, someone is good, someone is not. Anything. So all the dualities, what you speak about, and if a person is fine, if he is adding any value to this world, I think that is more than enough, because the one who rewards is up there, and it is not. something someone has to give to anybody. And a person who is absolutely knowing himself or herself is the person who doesn't seek any validity from anyone for anything in life. So whether it's a Nobel Peace Prize or some other kind of prize, they have absolutely no significance in my world or in my point of view. So that's what I feel about what you were asking me about, whether someone deserves it or not. I don't know, but definitely Nobel Prize is not something so great like what everyone thinks about. Okay, thanks for asking three questions. I answered um, all the three questions. So let's go to the new email. Okay, I've selected the second one. I feel like I'm completely different person than I was 5 years ago. Is the real me the person I was, the person I am now, or neither? Good. I'm saying good not because like your thought process is fine. You're asking a question which is totally fine, but you have stumbled onto one of the oldest illusions of the human mind, the illusion that there is real me hiding somewhere, like real me hiding somewhere, like a fixed diamond buried under changing layers of dust, like in South Africa, the mines. That's what I remember now when I'm saying this. So they're waiting to be discovered, one and for all. But let me tell you the truth, and it will almost make you wonder, and some people might start to think about it. Because what I want to say is that there is no real you as such. Okay, there's absolutely nothing like real you. There is nothing as such. So not the person you were, not the person you are now, and not the future person you will become. And this is a kind of wrong question that you are asking with total sincerity. And that's a very dangerous question, because the wrong question, total sincerity. This creates a most persistent kind of confusion. And that is why you were asking whether it was the before one or the present one and the future version. You're thinking about yourself like a photography, something that can be developed once and printed permanently, like how it used to be in the past, and even now in our digital cameras. Like we have a photograph we take, and once it's done, yeah, you can keep printing it permanently. But what I want to say is, like, you are not a photograph, you are a river. And Heraclitus says that you cannot step into the same river twice. But what I want to tell you is, you cannot even step in it once, because by the time your feet is touching the water in the river, then both you and the water have already moved on. You're understanding? The moment you touch, you have just moved on. The person who started reading this sentence and the person finishing it are not identical, isn't it? Because cells have died and thoughts have arisen and dissolved later on. Some neurons has fired that will never fire in exactly that way again. So things are very different. You are not a noun, you are a verb who is trying to be a noun. What I'm saying is, like, what is happening is like personing is happening, and it is not a person. So that's why I'm saying, like, you're a verb and you are not a noun. I hope you are getting my metaphor. So when you ask, is the real me the person I was, or what I am now, or what I will be in the imaginary future, it is like asking like which frame of the movie that we see in the theater is true, because you have to understand that the movie is complete. It's a whole thing from the beginning to the end is what we call as movie. Everything is put together there in it. But if you're asking, and if you're under the illusion of continuity, then that illusion, that magic trick, is what you have named as myself, like myself. Just like that, the mind, takes a series of changing frames and paints a false story on top of it. So mind is always doing that. I am the same one who was here 5 years ago, and you might be thinking that. But what I want to say is that you are not. That was someone the river carried away long ago. What remains is not that person anymore. What remains is only the flowing, and there is a difference there. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm not telling that you don't exist. No, that is not what I'm saying. You exist. You exist as vibrantly as you are, as completely as you are, but not as a fixed thing like how you're thinking. You exist the way a flame exists in the candle. If you look at the candle, if when it's burning, when you have lit it and when it's burning, let me say that you switch on the candle at the night before you're sleeping. And when you wake up in the morning, you see that the flame is still burning. You will tell to yourself, like, yeah, I can see the flame, it's still burning. But is it the same flame? The answer is no. Each moment, new fuel is being consumed, which means like new candle, jewels has been consumed. New flame is being born. Old flames have died 1,000 times over the course of the night. And that is why it has shrunk from being a very big candle to a very small one. Yet there is a continuity, a rhythm, a pattern which keeps repeating again and again. And this pattern, not any fixed substance in what you call the flame. You are exactly like that, a dancing pattern. A rhythm existence is playing, or your God is playing, or whatsoever you want to call it as, universe or whatever it is. It's not a statue which is existing, uh, which God or universe has carved you into. No, it is a dancing pattern. The the real tragedy is not that you have changed. The real tragedy would be if you had not changed in 5 years. Nothing, no change at all. That means like it is almost like a dead end. There is no change, nothing. Just walking around and mistaking your rigidity for identity. Growth is not a betrayal of your real self. If you're thinking about it in some way, then definitely not. Growth itself is your real self. If by real you mean the only thing about you that has never once stopped since you are born from that day, the changing itself. The one constant in you is change. Everything else is immaterial, because change is the only constant. The change is good, the change keeps happening, and change has to happen, and that is the order of life. If change is not the constant, then something is dead. As long as you're alive in life, one thing you observe, that change is the only constant. That is the closest thing to truth I can hand you. And even this is just a finger pointing, not the object itself. Because what is finger pointing? If I point towards the sky and say that, look, the first thing that everybody sees is the finger itself, and not the one where it is pointed towards. But the finger is not important. The point to which it is pointed is very important. So that is why I'm saying it's not the sky, it's the sky which is important and not the finger. So what I want to say is, um, stop the search for which version is really you, or don't keep asking which version is really me. Is it the past one? Is it the current one? Or is it the future one that you are going to be? Both the person you were and the person you are now are really real, equally real, and equally unreal also. Like waves on the ocean, for example. This is another metaphor that I can give you. If you keep watching the waves in the ocean, maybe sometimes there is 2 feet uh, tall waves, 5 feet tall waves, 3 feet tall waves, and you keep asking, like, what was the real wave? Was it the 5 feet one, or was it the 2 feet one? Was it the 1 feet one? It doesn't make sense, because there is only ocean, and rising now this way and rising other time in another way. That is the order of the ocean, and calling each rising by a temporary name, like in this case, that is a self. So that is all a self ever is. It keeps changing. It's a continuity. It's not broken down into any particular thing. So you cannot capture yourself saying, like, okay, what was I in the past, or what I was in the present moment, and what I was in the future moment is real me, and this is not me. That's why I want to tell you that you should stop asking who the real you is immediately, and instead start simply watching. What we call is like witnessing. This is what you learn in the Vipassana meditation, that witnessing without any labels, without needing a permanent answer to this question. If you are in that way, if you follow that path, then you will taste something far more valuable than identity. You will taste that freedom, because identity is a prison. You build yourself, brick by brick, out of world memories, out of everything that you have learned. And unlearning is important. And freedom is simply, the falling away of that prison, falling away from that identity, allowing you to flow, not scared of anything, into whatever you are going to become next. Just allowing, just flowing, without even thinking about it, without even asking any questions about the past, present, or the future. Just flowing. And don't be scared about anything that is going to happen with you, or nothing. Just flow out of it. And without, you don't need to defend it, without needing to call at some point in time that this is the real you, what you are. Nothing is needed. Just allow it. I just want to tell you one final time that you are not a fixed point. You are the whole sky itself, and whole sky through which clouds of personality keeps passing. Stop identifying with the clouds. That is where all the confusion lies. Because you are not the cloud, you are the sky itself. Wow. Not because it is resisting change, but because it allows every change to pass through it without ever being touched. You are not the cloud which comes and goes, but you are the sky. And be the sky, because sky simply observes what is coming and what is going, but it never gets disturbed in anything. So we have come to an end of this week's satsang. We will meet again next Wednesday, same time at 6 p.m. CEST. Thank you all for being here with me today. It was very good answering all the questions. I want to keep satsangs much more smaller ones because people ask, they want to see it like if it's very small. And we are also planning to break it down into several parts so that I can keep a longer version of the satsang also. But for this week, that's it. Thank you all for your questions. I hope it was very interesting to you. And it's always my pleasure to be with you and to answer all your questions, to do this, work from my side. Thank you so much. And I wish you a nice evening. Take care of yourself. Namaste.